Alright. Hello YouTube. Welcome back. Long time no speak. But here we are today with WARNO 2v2 battle on the battlefield two ways. WARNO is the new RTS game out from Eugen Systems. Some say is the successor of Wargame Red Dragon. By some I mean I say that. This game's been getting a lot of negative coverage from different people, and I think it's unwarranted because it's being compared to Wargame Red Dragon and its early access after so many years of development. But I think it's a great game. And we're going to get in and have a look at this awesome battle that takes place. Absolutely epic. This game's going to be an excellent demonstration of situational awareness, overcommitting, and the power of RuSsIaN tank sTrOnK. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is me here. I'm on the left. My mate Jagged's on the right here. We've got Spankster on their right and Sergeant Harmon on their left. He's got units on the right also, but they're going to go mid. You'll see, similar to Wargame Red Dragon, that this is conquest, for lack of a better term. Capturing the zones, each zone's accrue points, maximum points is 4,000, first to 4,000 wins. So you can see here I'm moving up my recon. The cool thing about WARNO compared to Wargame Red Dragon is I'm allowed to forward deploy recon units, which I do so, and I take up these positions here and here. Line of sight is more of a thing in WARNO than it was in Wargame Red Dragon. So taking up positions like this, wherein you could see lots of different angles and you have a large field of fire, is really important. And taking up strategic positions. Additionally, having units in only single cards gives more value to units individually as opposed to entire mass stacked groups. You can see here that Delta, or Dimitri on our side, is a 3+, so this is where the battle is mostly going to take place. So as you can see, I rushed forward with some Spetsnaz crew in my MI8 TVs, met with an Apache, 30mm cannon opening up on the Apache, and a gunfight ensues. I know that I'm going to lose this fight. One helicopter's down, but luckily the Spetsnaz crew jump out. That's the cool thing about WARNO over Wargame. If a helicopter goes down, you don't just lose the infantry, they jump out. I will admit you should lose the infantry when this happens though, but you know, that's neither here nor there. So my friend here, if we look over on the right, he's just setting up a defensive position, and it's just his intent on just holding in front of this town and the town itself. In-depth air defense, Strellas, that sort of thing. I've done a similar tactic here, 2 Strellas holding this left-hand access into center. I bring the Strela forward. See here, Strela stops and engages the Apache. 1 missile. So the Apache is quite strong, takes quite a few missiles to kill it. 2 to the face, and a 3rd brings it down. The tow missile moves because he was routed, and his targeting system's obviously a little messed up after taking those 2 missiles to the face, 2 Strela missiles to the face. So here he comes. The enemy comes in, big infantry push. The Spetsnaz crew are recon infantry. They are quite good, and they're good at holding, but it just ends up being too much for them. So we're just going to fast forward here. As you can see, infantry push in. He brings in a Kiowa. I push the Strela forward to try and counter the Kiowa. So here I come, T-64 BVs. I think, you know what? Okay, so the Australian's taken out. So now that I've lost the Strela, I see this swathe of infantry coming. So I withdraw my tanks and I fall back. I've got the Russian artillery coming in, the Akatsia, right? These are great artillery. I'm just hammering these buildings here and destroying them so we can no longer occupy them. So this is a cool thing that's different to Wargame Red Dragon. Buildings are actually destructible as opposed to just setting them on fire or forcing a unit out of a position. Now it completely destroys the position and nobody can occupy those buildings. So he's going to do like a similar sort of thing here. I've only got one Motor Stroke Metis unit here that's holding this position. ATGM infantry 7 in the stack. He's coming here with Bradley IFVs with some fire teams in them, and he's just going to force them out. These poor infantry getting rushed across the field now. They can't hold their position in their building. I see this the whole time. I have eyes on this the whole time, so I know he's running to this tree line, and inevitably I just shell the crap out of the tree line and the infantry just die, and he gives up. He gives up on moving them. This Bradley IFV comes in, considers going down this route, sees me push my T64 BV and change his tactic, moves down this route and jumps in one of these buildings. I see this with my Tunguska and I jump in a tree line because I don't want to lose my Tunguska. Tunguska's are really expensive units, so if you're playing as the Americans, I suggest you target them because they are fantastic. Okay, so the Kiowa comes across, I see this, I move the Tunguska forward and it just gets shredded by the Tunguska. Boom, dead. 264 BVs are now engaging this Abrams here. So I'm engaging these buildings with artillery, trying to destroy them, because I know he's in there. MLRS cluster over the top to try and catch my Akatsia. The cool thing about these Akatsia is they are self-propelled guns as opposed to just static artillery, or motorized artillery. So they can take an MLRS cluster hit quite well and survive it. So I withdraw these Akatsia into a different position. This, for those that haven't played Wargame Red Dragon and are just getting into WARNO, this is a must. When you fire your artillery, you must move them. I never target his MLRS clusters, but another player might, and it happens often, so you need to move them about. Okay, so I changed position again after firing. I can see it's in here. Okay, he does this rush here in the center. We were not expecting this. This is the first time this has happened to me since playing WARNO. This looks like a great play. Looks like a great play, right? And it is a great play because it gives them a 5+ point advantage, okay? But his position in Delta, or Dimitri for us, is so weak now. So watch what happens next. I'm not going to show you my deployment, but watch what happens next. So I bring a recon chopper over here to see what he's got. I see a massive IFVs and infantry, and here now you see I'm bringing 4 Motor Strelky in BMPs, and an engagement ensues. I've got Sappery up here as well, just as a human sponge. 4 ATGMs at a time against this Bradley. This Bradley was an absolute Chad and tanks 3 waves of ATGMs before he dies. And then only when my tanks come up in the rear does he die. So that Bradley did some work. But now he's stuck. He's stuck. These infantry are too slow to withdraw. He can't get them out. I've got my T64 BVs pushing up. I know this is an Abrams. Now this here, I'm not shitting on these guys, but I don't understand this move. He pushes 3 Pivads up when he knows that I came with IFVs and tanks. He saw that because the Bradley's engaged. This is a wrong move. If you see tanks and IFVs, you need to counter it with ATGMs or tanks of your own. To be honest, what I would have done is followed back. Just like in Wargame, this is Conquest. And CVs are everything. So he should have withdrawn this CV and fallen for this position, because there was no way he was holding this. My mate pulls back our CV into cover. The infantry are forced to come out in the open into the guns of 2 BMP2s and the T-64 BVs, and they just get shredded in the open. He brings over his mech rifles. Pivans are opening up. They're ineffective. The infantry gets shredded. The pivads get shredded by the T-64 as he pushes them to get the Mi-8K. Mech rifles come across. They get 1, 2 of my BMPs. Infantry push. Quickly deal with them. Then he brings in Abrams, a singular Abrams. It's not enough. If you see a mass of Russian tanks, you can't counter it with a singular Abrams. It's not enough. He puts it in this position. It's hidden. I can't see it. So when the tanks roll down the hill, he gets the initial shot. But as soon as he fires, I see it. So I've got 5 T-64 BVs here. T-64 BVs are good comparative to the T-80Us because, one, they're cheaper, the frontal armor is less, but the cannon is the same, the ATGM is better. So 2 Abrams rushed up, quickly dispatched here. I've got a front foot overhead 2 times. Well, actually, my mate's got 1. I've got the... Oh, no, he's got both. Okay, so these are his. Anyway, so we got Frogfoot's marshalling in case he needed it. I did not need it. My T-64s dispatched him. So now his position here is super weak, and I know it. So now he's going for a creeping barrage with his MLRS clusters. Again, I see this. I move and fan out my units so they're not clumped together. I'm reinforcing with 2 T-80Us, and again he reinforces with Chaparrals. This is wrong. You need to reinforce with ATGMs. Okay, so I'm a bit lackadaisical here on my Akatsir. I don't move them, but again they tank the cluster rounds. Okay, so this here I push in Motor sTrOnK 4 times in BMPs. I know this guy's here. It doesn't matter. The BMP's auto cannons are enough to suppress the fire team so that he can't get off his ATGM, and I just destroy him in earnest. Chaparral gone. Okay, so this is another thing, and he continuously does this throughout the whole game. He rushes Abrams and the ITV across the open field here. I see the whole thing. This guy has his gun turned off, so I'm not engaging. He doesn't see it, so I see them the whole time. And then a tank battle just ensues here. I fall back so that I can regroup with the T-80Us, and then I push forward. Now it's a 6v2. Now it's a 6v none. He comes forward again. 2 more tanks. This time I'm pushing in and I'm clearing out the infantry. Russian tanks are cheap. I don't care if I lose tanks here. So this is 6 tanks against his infantry. His infantry just gets shredded. The mech rifles here are holding. He's even clustering his own mech rifles in order to try and get my tanks. I see the Abrams coming in. I push T-80U engages. T-64 BVs follow up and support. And again, now it's a 6v2. Dead. Brings a singular Abrams up. I push the tanks into the cover of the mountain, away from his clusters. I lose 1. Oh no, I don't. Okay, I don't lose 1. No, wait, yes I did. I lost 1 somewhere. Anyway, so I push the Tunguska up in case there's any air cover coming up to drop any ordnance. I see the Abrams come out. I now have 5 tanks here. Command vehicle comes in, takes a position. We now have a +3 advantage because we control Dimitri. I dispatch the Abrams with the Frogfoot because my tanks are damaged and on low ammunition. So I'm bringing in a resupply vehicle. 2 Abrams are coming down the road. I see that as well. Again, not enough. Not enough. You can't counter me with just 2 vehicles. It's not enough. And you just got to lose every time. So he comes here. He comes to the counter offensive. He pushes in. We've got a lot of infantry here. BMP2s with the ATGM. He takes out my Tunguska. Lucky hit. I have a second Tunguska here that's still hidden. The infantry are engaging BMPs. I bring infantry across, and it's just a crossfire. It just walks right into the gauntlet. Aircraft coming in, Frogfoots, ATGMs. We're taking out his tanks. My tanks are engaging his tanks, and it's just a massacre. So he pushes in. What he really needed to do was old mate needed to build up here, he needed to build up here, and they needed to coordinate together to bring in a concerted effort to try and take the point. So the tank battle did cost me. I'm now down to 3 tanks from 5, but it doesn't matter. I've completely dispatched any offensive. This guy brings in a Thunderbolt, easily destroyed by 2 Tunguskas here. We've got our Garads opening up now on the road in case anything else gets brought in. He brings up these Phantoms to come in and fight and kill my Frogfoots. And he's unable to do so. One of these Phantoms eats it to my Strellas. Right, so now we're at over 50%. He's engaging with MLRS clusters, try and help. Right, I'm reinforcing, my mates are reinforcing T80Us. I'm bringing T80Us in now as well. He's clustering the road, or actually I think my artillery is here. He's trying to cluster the artillery. Brings in a Phantom, it's immediately destroyed. MiG-31Ms 3 times, just dispatch that in conjunction with AA coming from the ground. His tanks come in, see that. They're getting 80 GMs from the BMPs, takes 1 hit, so this is severely damaged now. 2 tanks, 2 T64s. T64s are now low on ammunition and they're weak, but the crossfire from the T80Us and the company with the T64s and the BMPs from the south just completely dispatch it. He brings in this Apache rocket. This rocket Apache is, while it can destroy tanks, is really ineffective against tanks. Strela comes across in order to deal with the Apache. Mech rifles fire an ATGM, it misses. He brings these 2 ITVs across, bringing some more ATGMs. But again, he's bringing them in waves. He needs to bulk them all together if he does that. And the ITVs shouldn't be in the open, they should be in the woods. And wait for me to come out. He manages to get a lucky hit on the Tunguska here. Frogfoot eats it from the Chaparrals in the rear. That's smarter use of the Chaparrals. Taking up defensive positions, and here my Akatsuya are getting hit from the MLRS clusters because I haven't maneuvered them back. T64 BV comes in to support to bolster my tank numbers, so now I'm getting resupply. My tanks here are getting more ammunition and repair now. He's bringing down Bradleys, and now there's a concerted push here to take this central position so that he cannot bring any reinforcements from this side anymore. Old mate is obviously out of points now that he's lost so many tanks. ITV is just staying in the open. He's using his MLRS clusters to try and pick off the Grads in the back. My mate's moving his Grads around, or he's a bit slow to move there. Sergeant Hartman surrenders. Writings on the wall now. They can't really take this position back. The AI takes over now. Just a show of force here with the MiG-31Ms. No real point doing that. There's a big push here. This could have been dangerous. If this had happened early and it comes straight up the guts, this could have been really bad. But now our position here is too strong. Any push from this side will just immediately get demolished. He brings this, the AI brings this OH-58C up, immediately dispatched by Estrella. These infantry are starting to take up positions with the Stingers. I don't know why there's so many Stingers, but they just immediately get dispatched by GMs. And the battle ends shortly thereafter. So that's the end of the battle. This is WARNO on the battlefield 2 ways. I'll show you my deck now. So this is the deck I've created. This isn't the base level deck. Here we go. Armory. So the 216th Guards Rifles Regiment, which is a regiment underneath the original 79th. So, 1 card of BRDM TU command vehicles, 1 card of Urals for logistics. This is my infantry. So Sappery I use to initially engage and take positions, and then I back them up with Motostrelki, and I'm using Motostrelki Metis as ATGM infantry. I've got 2 cards of Akatsuya and 1 card Grad. And this is my tank, T64, 2 cards T80Us, no veterancy, 3 cards T80BVs, 1 card T80B, and Conquerors in order to form a defensive HGM position. BRDM2s, Space Screw, MI8TVs, UAZ and Razvedka, and then the MI8K in a card of 4. my anti-aircraft. So, what I've learned from playing this game is the buck is useless. Eugene, please buff this. It's terrible. So we've got 1 card of buck only because we can't take more of Tunguska. 2 cards of Tunguska. Same thing, the OSA is useless comparative to the Strela. The Strela has less range, but is way more effective for the price. So 2 cards Strela, 2 cards Tunguska, 1 card buck, just because. I don't take the helicopter because the helicopter is only marginally better than the Mi-8 and costs just as much. It doesn't come with Spetsnaz crew. This is my air deck. ATGM Frogfoot. I've got this SU-24HE, which I've had mixed results with. MA-8 23P, again mixed results with. And it's got the infrared rockets as well as the semi-active radar, so we can deal with choppers as well as jets, and then the Mi-31M. And that's my deck. And that's been the battle, everyone. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again. See you next time.